Okay, the most important thing about number 18 is that it's a number 18. We have to pay attention as we go through to the question number because it allows us to sense the difficulty of the question. How hard is it supposed to be? So if I looked at this and we picked something like, let's say, choice A, that's going to be a big trap, right? The question itself, the question part says, based on the table, which of the following is closest to the probability that a tablet user answered always, given that the tablet user did not answer never? So there's two ways of misreading that question. Either way, I'm going to get 31%, right? So if I look at the never, 31.3%, that kind of looks like choice A. Or if I look at the always, that also looks like 31%, right? 30.9. So either way, it's a trap. So there's two ways of misreading the question. But in both cases, we're at question number 18. We're more than halfway through the section at this point. Do we really think that it's supposed to be that easy? That I just look for a number in one of these rows and that's the whole question? There's no math involved in that. There's no strategy. And so that feels too simple for a question that's supposed to be on the medium to hard side. So if I use the question number to help me sense the difficulty, I can avoid that trap, even if it's really tempting for me. Or even if I have no idea where to go from here, I still have eliminated the trap answer. And I've at least got a better chance of guessing the right thing because I've gotten down to the choices that are possible. The SAT does this a lot. And if you can use this strategy, the sense the difficulty strategy, you might not get all of these hard ones right, but you'll at least avoid the traps and get more of them right by just random guessing from what's left. So I recommend thinking about this strategy. It's really, really helpful. So what do I really need to do to get this right? So the question is really poorly worded, but that's kind of intentional. They want us to be confused about what they're asking for. So let's just break it down. Which of the following is closest to the probability, and on the SAT that mostly means we're going to make a fraction, that a tablet user answered always? Okay, so always is going to be important. They're answering always, given that the tablet user did not answer never. So that second piece, so answered always, let's just use two different colors here, and did not answer never. So the green tells me that that 30.9 is going to be important. The blue tells me that this 31.3 is not going to be important. They're telling me to eliminate that row from my table. It's not part of my probability. But like I said, probability on the SAT usually means we're making a fraction with a numerator and a denominator. I like to focus on the denominator first, the bottom, because it usually is what is the trick to the question. So I like to focus there first, but I'm going to kind of go against my own strategy here because it's so much easier to think about what the numerator is here. The top of this fraction, the thing that we want, we were told, was the always. So that's the 30.9. That's what we're picking. We're picking out of a group, and the thing we want to pick is the 30.9, is the always option. For the other part, though, there's no easy way to pull a number out and plop it in the bottom of this fraction. We need to really understand what they mean. When they had us cross out the never, what they're really telling us to do is focus on everything else. So we're picking out the always choice, but instead of picking it out of 100%, picking it out of the full chart, we're being told to pick it out of everything except the never. So I need to take these other three numbers and add them together. That's what I'm choosing out of. So it's kind of confusing. I totally get it if you're a little lost, but let me just show you what my fraction would look like. I'm just going to take 24.3, 13.5, and 30.9 and put them all in the denominator. I'm eliminating the never. The only thing left is rarely, often, and always. And so now this is where the calculator comes in. I would just add those three numbers up, 24.3 plus 13.5 plus 30.9. Gets me 68.7. So 68.7. And then 30.9 is simple. That stays as the denominator. or the numerator, and then we just do division. So 30.9 divided by 68.7 is 0.44978, so 98. And we didn't need to put all those decimals. We can see that choice C is close enough. It's rounded. So this is tricky. I totally get that. But one thing that I hope makes you feel better about a question like this is that the SAT is very repetitive about these questions. If it were earlier in the section, we probably could just pick out the always choice and 31% would have been the answer. That's an early, easy question 1 through 5 kind of situation. But as you move through the test, when they talk about probability, we're always making this fraction. And the hard part is always going to be the denominator, the bottom of the fraction. What they're going to do is they're going to tell us to pick only certain parts of the chart, whatever chart we're given. Sometimes it means we're crossing out just one piece. Sometimes it means we're crossing out a column, sometimes a row. Sometimes we're crossing out multiple parts. It just depends. So that part I can't really predict for you. But what I can predict is that that is what they're going to ask you to do and try to trap you on, is they're going to make you pick things. So if you know that that's the trap, then at least you know, sense the difficulty, know that you're later in the section, know that there's a trap, and do your best to avoid it by crossing out what you think they're telling you to cross out. Most of the time I think you'll be right, but it's important to know that it's never going to be just like pulling out one number on a harder question. There's going to be these extra little steps here. So be prepared for that. And even if you're still confused, at least you'll be able to eliminate the trap answer and guess from what's left. That's a totally fine thing on the SAT.